Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. Let's be honest here. Running this podcast in October with Sox Yankees on the line, that's like volunteering to stick your head in a hornet's nest just to get the vibe. Nothing says quality of life like building your week around whether Boston's bullpen decides to implode in the seventh or the eighth. I've had to schedule my dinner around Alex Cora's mound visits. Remember, you can't spell hostage without host. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. This guy's so passionate about hating the Yankees, he once argued with a hot dog vendor at Fenway for wearing a navy blue apron. But here's the thing, Nick. Our Sox keep handing the ball over like it's a church bake sale. The Yankees don't even need to swing the bats. They just wait for the Sox to trip over themselves like drunks on Lansdowne Street. Nick's here screaming about the evil empire. Meanwhile, our defense looks like they've been kidnapped and replaced by the bad news Bears. And also with us is Thayer Doyle, the fundamentals guy, which is hilarious because watching the Red Sox play defense is like watching a YouTube tutorial titled How Not to Catch a Baseball. These clowns make the Yankees look like they invented the sport. Thayer's the guy who'll pull out a chalkboard mid-game and be like, see, kids, this is how you catch a routine pop fly. Unless you're the Boston Red Sox, in which case you drop it, look confused, and then blame the sun. If incompetence were a stat, we'd be leading the league. Let's get into it. Well, it's over. Stick a fork in them, Sox fans. The Boston Red Sox have officially eliminated themselves from postseason contention. Not because the Yankees beat them. No, that would require New York to actually try. The Sox went ahead and did the dirty work for themselves. Errors in the outfield, strikeouts at the plate, outfielders playing peekaboo with fly balls. This wasn't elimination. It was assisted suicide with pinstripes watching and laughing. This team didn't fall short. They face planted, rolled over, and then handed the Yankees a participation trophy. If there was an award for sucking ass, the Sox would be hoisting a banner at Fenway tomorrow. Let's review. First inning, right out of the gate, the Sox show us who they are. Duran flails like he's swinging at fruit flies. Story pops up of his hitting the ball hard against his religion, and Bregman gets the gift of all gifts, a Yankee error, and instead of doing anything with it, he just stares at strike three. That's Boston, handed a lifeline, and they use it to hang themselves. The Yankees, they go down quietly because they already know Boston will implode by themselves, and there's no effort needed. Second inning, Masataka Yoshida gets a single, the lone adult in the lineup of children. Then Rafaela, Lowe, and Navarez follow up by combining for the baseball version of elevator music. Boring, lifeless outs. If this were a job interview, the Red Sox just showed up late, spilled coffee on themselves, and answered every question with, Stanton doubles in the bottom half because our outfield still thinks catching is a suggestion. Luckily, the Yankees strain him, but it's not skill, it's charity. Third inning, Abreu, Gonzalez, and Duran take turns embarrassing themselves. Duran, of course, adds another strikeout to his personal highlight reel. At this point, I'd rather be sending a folding chair up to bat. It wouldn't swing at strikes, but hey, neither does Duran. The Yankees, they basically nap through their half. Why try when Boston's offense is legally deceased? Take it to the fourth Story and Bregman do their thing. Harmless flyouts. Yoshida collects another single, probably wondering why he signed with this circus. Rafaela grounds out, cue the sad trombone. Then comes the bottom half, and oh boy, Bellinger doubles while Boston's outfielders argue over who's supposed to catch it. Stanton walks, Rosario drives him in, Chisholm singles, Volpe singles, everyone's scoring. Then Wells reaches on a low error because apparently catching a ball at first is advanced calculus. 4 Yankee runs later, the Sox are dead, season's over, fire everyone, start the bus. Take it to the fifth, Low singles, yay. Then Navarez strikes out, Abreu strikes out, Gonzalez singles, and Duran ends it yet with another strikeout. That's 3 straight at-bats where Duran looked like he was swatting gnats. Can we just send him to the Bronx Zoo? He'd fit right in with the other animals. The Yankees do nothing in their half because they don't need to. The Sox will finish themselves off. 6th inning, Story singles, Bregman reaches on a fielder's choice, Yoshida and Rafaela strike out, same script, different inning. Bottom half, Chisholm singles, Volpe strikes out, and then Story, our veteran leader, airmails a throw so bad it should have come with a flight number. A little leaguer makes that play blindfolded. Seventh, Lowe fouls out. Navarez pops out. Abreu strikes out. 3 batters, 3 corpses walking. At this point, even the Yankees look bored. The Sox aren't a threat, they're an inconvenience. Bottom 7, Weissert trots in. Judge flies out like it's a casual BP round. Bellinger dribbles one to first, and Stanton does his Broadway routine. 3 balls, a foul, and then grounds out like he's late for a curtain call. 0 runs, 0 pulse. 8th inning, Romy Gonzalez swings like he's borrowed someone else's bat and strikes out. Duran fouls out. Story grounds out. Sox hitters might as well have sent postcards from the dugout. Yankees half, Goldschmidt sneaks a single. Then McMahon, Jazz, and Volpe all strike out staring like they've discovered baseball was graded. 9th inning, Sox with one last grasp. Bregman walks. Yoshida erases him on a fielder's choice. Rafaela whiffs, and Lowe fouls out to third to seal it. Ball game ends with Boston's offense going out quieter than Yankee Stadium traffic at 3 a.m. So here it is, your 2025 Boston Red Sox, eliminated not by the Yankees, but by themselves. If you're a fan, demand change, fire everybody, trade everybody, blow it up, because this group sucks ass. And now it's time for the word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day!
Should Donald give us the word of the day? Because he's got his boxing gloves on. I don't know if he should or not. I actually was so angry Donald broke. I'm really sorry to report. We twisted him a little too much tonight, and now Donald needs. I need a new Donald. Is what I need. That is not what word of the day is. Today's word of the day is going to be miscommunication. I'm so glad this is done, guys. I actually am a little happy that we don't have to stomach this anymore. That outfield, I want every single one of them gone. I don't care if people are mad at me for having a take that Rafaela should stay. I want them all out of here. I'm done. I've seen enough to know this group cannot get the job done. Number one, I want to look at Jarren Duran. The amount of times I heard on the radio today from some of you imbecile baseball reporters and fans, Jarren Duran is a motivated player. He's facing a righty. He's going to go off. This is exactly where you want Duran to be. I want them to, number one, never speak again. Number two, employ us and take their paychecks away, okay? And number three, to never be serious again with following one more take that some of these people have to say. It is that embarrassing. How in the living world do you people look yourselves in the mirror and lie to the general public constantly? Just, what are you, just to toy with us, just to tease us, just to think it's funny? I didn't think that was funny tonight, guys. You lost to the New York Yankees for the first time in a series since 2003. That is, and the whole point of it here was the Yankees didn't beat the Red Sox. It was the Red Sox completely tanking and not being able to communicate, not being able to field, not being able to hit, not being able to make adjustments. I loved Alex Cora's little interview that he did with Carl Ravitch and ESPN with Buster Olney and all that crew when they were talking in game about, oh, what do you got to do, Alex? How's the temperature of the team right now? We don't play defense. Our defense let us down. Our team just makes mistakes all the time. That was Alex Cora giving the finger to the ownership and Craig Breslow, saying, you know what? This is the team you gave me. Go F yourself. I actually am sitting here, and I can't blame Alex Cora for this. Maybe a little bit, But at the end of the day, this came down to the players. The players absolutely sucked. Sucked. Let's look at Wilyer Abreu, the almighty right fielder, who, number one, can't catch up to a fastball to save his life, can't stay healthy, can't get on the field, and airmails every friggin' throw that comes to right field into the next county. And you people out there want to believe that that's your future in your right field. Go get your friggin' heads examined. Go watch 2004. Go watch 2007. Go see a Trot Nixon. Go see a JD Drew. Go see a Shane Victorino. And then go see a Mookie Betts play. And then have a conversation with me. And then let's go to Ceddanne Rafaela, the one that everybody thinks is the bright future. And, oh, he's the untouchable. This glove is just amazing. You're going to love it. Well, you know what, fans? He is a poor man's excuse of a Jackie Bradley Jr. I'm sorry. The guy can't get it done in his head. He can't. He's checked out more times than not. He can't communicate with either Duran or Abreu. He doesn't have good reads at times to the ball. I'm not taking away some of the flashy things that he does, but he's a heart attack at times in the outfield. With the bat, sometimes the approach is good. Sometimes it's just terrible. I remember the Tampa series a couple weeks back when we were at Steinbrenner Field and we were talking on this pod and we were talking about, oh, look at the approach going to the opposite way. I wonder if that will translate over. Nope. Didn't do it. Miscommunication also led to last night's game. You had Kyle Hudson with issues. You had Nate Eaton, whether somebody didn't give him a read or not, who knows. But overall, I looked at tonight with the miscommunication coming from our outfield the most that really disappointed me on some routine Little League style plays that just should never have happened here tonight. The Yankees move on. The Red Sox season is done. And truthfully, I'm actually relieved.
Nick Face's word of the day is powered by the Bronx 7 train. Miss it by 30 seconds and you'll be waiting forever, just like the Red Sox offense with runners in scoring position. And now it's time for the third strike.
And now it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
All right, the third strike is strike three. Schlittler was fantastic today. He pitched beautifully, worked ahead in the count, was just pumping fastballs, pumping them for strikes, worked in a few breaking balls. He was a dominant pitcher who understood what he needed to do and how to be successful. He didn't need to be fancy. He just needed to continue to pump 100-mile-an-hour fastballs up in the zone, work the corners. He did a fantastic job. He saw that the team that he was facing was trying to pull everything and trying to be quick, and he just beat him. Nothing more to it than that. Probably top 5 all-time Yankees starting pitcher performance during the playoffs. Maybe even a little higher than that, but you can't go too much higher given the fact that he wasn't playing some serious competition. The Red Sox offense wasn't the greatest that we could sort of talk about. But it's an unfortunate. But to his credit, he pitched wonderfully. He's going to be a force in the American League East moving forward, I think. And with Fried already in there, and if Cole comes back, the Yankees pitching staff is going to be something to dominate for the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah, and that's not even suggesting that they do something on the open market this offseason. They are going to be a much better 1 through 5 than you will be because we know what the Red Sox are going to do this offseason. They're going to rely on Crochet. They'll have possibly Early and Bayo, and it's just going to be another disaster. And we'll get into that in the offseason about how I feel this offseason is probably going to stink again, but we'll see where it takes us on another episode. That being said, the third strike is presented by Bronx traffic, because nothing says playoff baseball like sitting in your car for 2 hours after the game, wondering if you'll make it home for game 4 of the ALDS. I want to flip gears right now and head right into dugout dipshits because I think it's important.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Dugout Dipshits.
So I'm going to kind of ruin it for both of you by starting first. I normally don't do this, but I am, and I'm going to make it real short and sweet. My dugout dipshits is the 2025 Boston Red Sox. And the reason why I'm taking a cop out on that is because you can find some kind of dipshit situation from John Henry all the way down to the 40th guy on the roster. And you can make an argument in every stretch of the imagination that there was something to complain about and find fault with just about everybody not named Chapman and Crochet. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Fair, I'll start with you. Who's your dipshit?
Oh, I think I have to go Breslow simply because that was what was forced in front of us today. That lineup, the fact that they had to play guys who were not, we've been talking about it all year. They're not really guys that should be playing in the playoffs. They shouldn't be guys on a team that get you there. Credit to them, they got you there. They're not garbage. They got us to the playoffs. Problem is, when it comes down to being one of the 6 teams in the playoffs, you have to have guys. And you had your best guy hurt, so he wasn't there. Abreu, love him, hate him, he wasn't ready. He hadn't played in months. You can't really expect him to do anything. And Sogarts and Eaton, they just didn't have a team that was really ready. And it's unfortunate. They kind of did it with smoke and mirrors. So I'm going to say Breslow, given the fact that you had to throw a guy who made 4 major league starts as your third starter in a playoff game. So you had nothing else in your system. That at the trading deadline, when you knew you were fighting for something, you didn't see any of our trade deadline people playing in this game. None. That's how useful his trade deadline was. The best he did was Low because they gave him away, and heck, he made an error that probably cost us a lot more than anything else. So Breslow is my dipshit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a great choice. It just goes back to the roster construction from start to finish and the good moves that were made, the Crochet trade, the Chapman signing, which, none of us really thought that was going to be much. Alex Bregman came with question marks because of his inability to be a really good player start to finish. He typically is a second half player. This year he was a first half player, and maybe that injury really derailed him. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the offseason, depending on where all that goes. But yeah, just tough to put out a 26-man roster with all the backup guys that you have and expect something to happen. But you did mention Connolly early. Unfortunate of having to put him out there in a 4th major league start. And I put a tweet out earlier today. I said I stand with Connolly early, no matter what the outcome of this game is. And the reason why I put that tweet, I didn't really put the reason why. Not that I think the kid's bad, good, or indifferent. I don't know enough about him yet. My situation is you should have won yesterday. And that's the bottom line. You should have won yesterday. Your offense and more importantly, your defense let you down, Fenway fans and Twitter fans and so forth. The game should have been won yesterday. People can say all they want about Devers being in San Francisco. They can say anything about not getting a good number 2 starter at the deadline. Dustin May this, Dustin May that. Steve Matz stinks. Whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, you had game 2 in the bag, and you blew it. Nick, over to you. Your dipshit of the day, whoever you'd like.
Individually, it was Nate Lowe for me. That play at first base was atrocious. That was a start for him tonight. He hadn't started in the first two because the lefty was throwing, and that play needed to be made, and should have been a double play. You have a Gold Glove for a reason, and that play absolutely ruined any momentum that you had, and even coming back into the game if you ever did. But the most important dipshit of all is actually our ownership group, because this is what scares me right now, is that John Henry, Linda Henry, Sam Kennedy, Tom Werner, they're all happy as clams. They made the playoffs. They made the playoffs for the first time since 2021. And we are not going to hear the end of it this offseason. Oh, we made good strides. We got to the playoffs. We won that game with Garrett Crochet, that first one. We just didn't have enough. We had too many injuries. We're going to hear it ad nauseum. And I'm gonna want to have to mute every single word that I hear out of their mouths. They're gonna think it's acceptable. They're gonna think everything's cool. They're gonna go cheap yet again, and we're not gonna have much of anything this upcoming off season. That's what my fear is right now. And if they do end up keeping my good buddy Jarren Duran, this good buddy is going to toss his Red Sox gear out the window, because I can't do it again. I can't do 2026 with the same miscues, the same awful approaches. And it's not just Duran. It's a team-wide thing. If they keep Kyle Hudson at third base coach and outfield coach, that is going to set me off, and many others, and it should. If they keep Mr. Pete Fatsi as their batting coach, if that's kept and that's acceptable heading into 2026, fans, don't watch. Don't go to the game. I'm going to tell you that right now. If that happens, you need to go get yourself checked and for wasting money, for supporting something it'll be Groundhog Day. It'll be the exact same crap yet again. So fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, no. Or multiple times, it's not happening. So the ownership group needs to make changes. I know Henry doesn't want to sell. I get it. In all fairness, I know it's ridiculous, and I know it's unfortunate. I'm also looking for a new GM. I am. I'm looking. I'm seeing what's out there. I'm seeing if there's somebody else that might be better connected or knows the industry better, because I can't do it with Breslow. He just swung and missed too many times. He had some good, but way too many bads, and got bargains and get out of jail free cards for the most part to even get you to this series. Conley early, that wasn't on anybody's bingo card. He got so lucky being able to have him. Peyton Tolley. Did you have Peyton Tolley on your card for opening day, thinking he was going to play a part in a postseason run for the Red Sox? How about Roman Anthony coming up and doing what he did? Did any of you think that was going to happen? We heard about all the hype and everything in Worcester, but did we really think that was going to happen? We were really questioning if he was even going to be there. Marcelo Meyer coming up, getting hurt, showed the glove that it's great. It's going to be an uncomfortable offseason. I can already feel it in my blood. And I don't know if I want to go through another year of mediocrity. I have other more exciting things in my life than to waste my time with an organization that doesn't give an F. I have more things that I'd rather do with my life to be happier than watching a bunch of guys not understand how to play fundamental baseball. I'm good.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there, because I wanted to make a couple comments, and I'm probably not going to remember all of them. The first one I want to say is that I started listening to the baseball reporters tonight. Usually, I usually listen to it the day
I do too.
after, but I listened to it tonight, and I listened about the first 25 minutes, and I used to be a Jared Carabas fan. I'm really not anymore, and it has nothing to do with him personally. It's more professionally. But one of the comments he made is that he's like, people are calling for Jaren Durant to not play tonight, and he stuck up for him so badly, and I just think it's a kiss ass. And the reason why I say that is because he had a comment about Jaren Durant earlier this year where he kind of took a little bit more of a strong approach with him, and then he deleted the tweet, which is really, really poor. Own it. Don't back out like a baby. And then he had him on his show, and I'm sure there was a lot of, grab ass on that. And so tonight he told Tony that you want a motivated Jaren Duran, and I can assure you that he was sitting in his hotel room and didn't sleep last night, like I give an F, and that you want a motivated Duran tonight. And the first thing I thought about as soon as he was saying all that butter me up bullshit was Jaren Duran is going to try to hit a home run on every at bat, and he's going to strike out 3 or 4 times again tonight. And lo and behold, what happened? The most egregious thing, though, was that hit from Stanton where he lollygagged going after that ball. And I know it clanked up against the Yankee outfield fence there a little bit and wasn't a true ricochet that was easily playable. But he had very little effort going after that ball. And it reminded me of when Jaren Duran first came up in center field and let that ball travel over his head, and he looked, woe is me. And everybody called for his head at that time. Get rid of him. You couldn't trade him for a box of rocks. Last offseason was the year to trade him. The Red Sox played it coy because they thought he was developing into, a top 10
face of the franchise.
Top 20 face of the franchise, and he is closely not. The other comment I wanted to make, Nick, where you're talking about ownership and you're talking about John Henry and, we made the playoffs and this and that and so forth, that they may not want to do anything because, they're going to stand pat. The one thing I will say about that is by not having enough talent at the major league level prevented you from getting home field advantage in any of these playoff games, even though you had position for that earlier this year. So I'm not going to come and say on this show that I know exactly what all the playoff money is in terms of how it's distributed. But I will tell you this. Because, John Henry, you didn't put out a good enough product, you had no home field games in this playoffs because you didn't, number one, win enough games to be the number one wild card and host 3 games. And number 2, you didn't advance because your team's not good enough. And so what that means is that you lost a lot of ticket sales. You lost a lot of souvenir sales. You lost a lot of commercial advertising on Nesson. And you lost a lot of money from vendors and people around the area who are not going to make a lot of money in their restaurants, getting tips, bartenders, souvenir shop owners, coffee shop owners, all of that stuff. If you had tried hard enough, you would have finished first. And things would have been a lot different as it relates to that revenue. So, Red Sox fans, people who live around Boston, work in Boston, work close by to Fenway Park, blame your owner. Don't blame all the players. They're part of the problem. I will give you that. But your owner is your problem. And you can come back and say, well, he spent $200-something million. He's checked out. He doesn't care enough about the quality of the team, just the value and the money of the team from the standpoint of what's coming out of his pocket. Because I think if that's the case, he could have handled the Devers situation differently on just himself alone. As far as Nick, you were talking about a different GM, baseball ops, whatever you want to say. I agree with you. Breslow had a couple good moves, but I don't think it's rocket science to go trade for Garrett Crochet. I just don't.
It's not.
Anybody could have done that. Chaim Bloom could have done that. Would he have pulled the trigger? I don't know. But we also don't know what happens and is talked about behind the scenes to how much he wanted to or didn't want to go ahead and do so. I mean, I can tell you from the winter meetings alone that I had gotten a tip about the fact that Breslow didn't want to go after Bregman. And, you know, Alex Cora and Sam Kennedy wanted him. And there was an argument in the foyer of that hotel. And then about an hour after I mentioned it to a few people, from the tip person I got to tell me, Chris Cotillo said it on Twitter. So it was validated from that point. But I digress. He's not a good general manager. He struck out a lot, and he doesn't have a pulse on the game as well as he should for being a former player. And I don't know if he's handcuffed. Was Chaim Bloom handcuffed? I don't know. But you mentioned about a lot of the players that came up and saved his behind this season. Roman Anthony. We had 8 rookies make their major league debut with the Boston Red Sox in 2025. I don't know if they've ever been to a playoff game with that kind of volume of rookie guys making their debut. I just don't think that's possible. I don't think they did. So the offseason, Nick, is going to be a disaster. I've told this the last couple of years when we had the 2022 offseason, the 23 offseason. Back during the season, I said, wait until the offseason comes. You guys aren't going to be happy. And people were like, it's not. And it was terrible. Chaim Bloom had to get like 7 or 8 guys in 23. Justin Turner, sign him for a year, give him a $9 million buyout, all this kind of stuff to try to convince people to play for this team. No one wanted to play for this team. You know, Syndergaard told you, F you. You know, that's what happens. I don't know if it's going to change, but I'll tell you right now, buckle up, because I don't know what's happening with Bregman. I don't know what's happening with Story. You can't look at one spot on that diamond outside of the pitching mound, but one spot on that diamond and put someone in ink for that position like you did Devers over the course of the last 6 years. So I don't know. You could tell me Roman Anthony, is he going to play left? Is he going to play right? Is he going to play center? Is he going to DH? You don't know. No one knows. No one knows what the hell this team's going to look like for 2026 opening day. Because I'll tell you right now, look at the opening day 2025 and look what your postseason roster looked like and tell me if you had any of that. So I don't know what to tell you. I will tell you this.
I have a couple keepers. I'm sure you do too. Obviously, your Crochets, your Whitlocks, your Chapmans, Roman Anthony. Outside of that, I mean, Conley early, I'd keep Tolley. Are there any others that we'd say are just untouchable? I don't think so.
Justin Slayton.
Slayton, I'd keep. Yep.
Okay. So I think the back end of their bullpen is great, but let's face it. Are you going to get the same Chapman next year? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You know, Chris Martin was 37, 38 years old when he had a 1.02 ERA. He shit the bed this following season. You know, it's very hard with relievers to repeat good performances year in and year out. So I don't know how that's going to look. I mean, you already decided to sign Chapman way in advance. Is it going to be a good move? I don't know. But I will tell you this, Dugout Dipshits was sponsored by Fenway Franks, because just like the Red Sox bullpen, you think it's a good idea when you call for one, but one bite in and you're questioning your life choices. And by the time you finish, you realize it was not a bad decision that it really was. At least a hot dog only ruins your stomach. The Red Sox bullpen ruins your entire October. We're going to call it a little bit early. I want to just thank Thayer and Nick for being on with me tonight. I'd also like to thank our other hosts across this first inaugural season for us. Nick Diamond, who I believe is no longer with us, Curry Mitchell, and Tom McCarthy, and some of the others that have been in our chats for the entire season. Love all you guys. I appreciate all the love and support that you've given for this. I think it's a great thing. I think we put a lot of talent together into this. I hope we can expand and get a couple other people in for fill-ins for next year and a little bit more fun. We'll see how it goes, but we'll be with you periodically, I think, throughout the offseason, especially if there's major things happening, any kind of free agent signings or guys that leave, and major events, probably like, free agent filing periods and, maybe the winter meetings and things like that. We can definitely make sure that we'll be on at some point for some kind of show at that point. That being said, I want to thank Thayer and Nick for being on tonight. And I'd like to thank all the fans. I'd like to thank all the Red Sox faithful, all the Red Sox Twitter. We love all you guys. Even the guys that come at Nick and me all the time.
No, we don't.
I love you all. Start spreading the news. Let's go Toronto. Have a good night,
Jim,
everybody.
thanks for all you did. All the work you put into this was tremendous.
Jim,
well done.
Wonderful job with everything that was done as well. And I couldn't be more appreciative to work with two other guys like you, who are passionate, care, respectful, and are team players. Most importantly, we all are in this together. And I think that's what makes this different from anything else that's out there. The chemistry, the vibe, that's very important when you do something like this. And we definitely have hit that. And we appreciate all the fans out there that enjoy listening to us too.
Absolutely. In the famous words of Sammy Sosa, have a good night, everybody.